I slammed the truck door so hard the rearview mirror rattled. My porch, was covered in someone else's life. Pink scooter on the steps, muddy boots that didn't belong to me, a folded stroller leaning against the rail like it had lived there for years. I hadn't even been gone 2 weeks. Drove 14 hours straight from Arizona 'cause something just didn't sit right. Now I knew why. The front door was wide open, and I could smell roast chicken. Inside my own damn house, I crept up slow, peeked through the window, and there she was. Heather Caldwell, blonde bob, sunglasses pushed up like she thought she was royalty, sitting at my dining table wearing my flannel shirt, laughing like she owned the place. Her husband was barefoot in my kitchen, drinking from my green mug set I got at Walmart. 2 kids were sliding around in socks on the floors. I refinished with my own hands. I opened the door, and it hit the wall with a crack. Heather jumped up, eyes wide like she saw a ghost. "Oh my God," she gasped. "What are you doing here?" I stared at her. "What am I doing here? This is my house. What the hell are you doing?" She turned pale and grabbed her phone. "You're trespassing!" she shrieked. "I'm calling 911!" And she actually did, right there in my kitchen, standing on the same rug where I once danced with my late wife. She dialed the cops on me. Now you might be wondering how it got this crazy, so let me rewind. Name's Caleb Myers. I'm 45, widower, ex-Army medic. Been living out here on Pine Hollow Ridge in Colorado since my old man passed and left me the ranch. I don't do HOAs. Never have. I like dirt roads, chickens, a barn full of tools. That kind of life. But a couple years back, a gated community called Silver Creek Estates popped up across the creek. That's where Heather Caldwell came from. She was the president of their little HOA kingdom. You know the type. Passive-aggressive notes on your mailbox. Fake smile hiding a sharpened knife. She started small. Complaints about my grass. Said my tractor was visually disruptive. Then she walked her dog across my property like it was a damn public park. I ignored her. I wasn't part of her HOA. She had no power over me. Then 2 weeks ago, I left for Arizona. Cousin had surgery, needed a hand. Before I left, I installed new locks, boarded up the windows, set my motion cameras. Told my buddy Wes down the road to swing by. He got called away to Montana for a family thing. Bad timing. That's when Heather made her move. Couple days in, I got a weird itch. Call it gut instinct. I packed early and drove all night. And now here I was, getting the cops called on me by a woman squatting in my house, claiming I'd abandoned it. And the worst part, when the sheriff's cruiser pulled up, one of the deputies yelled, "Sir, step away from the property." I raised my hand slow. "This is my land," I said. "Name's Caleb Myers. I've lived here 20 years. They broke in." Heather ran down the steps with crocodile tears in her eyes. "Officers, thank God, he scared my children." The officers pulled me aside. I handed them my ID, told them to check county records. One of them walked off to do just that, while the other stayed with me like I was about to tackle someone. When the deputy came back, he handed me my license and said, "You're the legal owner. That's confirmed." I finally breathed until he added, "But the locks match their keys. No forced entry." I blinked. "What do you mean, their keys?" My mind raced. I checked the garage. My spare key lockbox. Gone. The cellar door. Replaced. She'd changed my damn locks. Then Heather strutted back outside with a smug smile and handed the officer a folder. "Here's our emergency relocation paperwork from the Silver Creek HOA, she chirped. "Filed last week, the board approved occupancy." I stared at her like she was from another planet. "That's not how property works. This isn't HOA land, this is my land," the officer mumbled. "We'll need the county to look at this. Might be a civil matter." They wouldn't remove her, said I needed a court order. Heather smiled like a cat full of canary. "You'll get your day in court," she purred. Her daughter waved at me from the door and said, "Hi, Mr. Myers. Mommy says this is our vacation house now." I nearly lost it right there. The next morning I was at the county clerk with every document I had: deed, utilities, photos. My lawyer, Lindsay Carver, a pit bull in heels, filed an emergency injunction and a criminal complaint for fraud. That night, I parked across the road and watched my house glowing like Christmas. Heather was sitting in my wife's old rocking chair by a bonfire in my backyard. I almost snapped, but I waited. 2 days later, I found a forged contract buried behind my tool shed. Said I'd sold the place to Heather for 20 grand. Had my fake signature. It was typed up like a third grader's homework. That wasn't just squatting. That was theft. Identity fraud. Psychological warfare. Lindsay went nuclear. Filed charges with the sheriff. But Heather didn't flinch. She doubled down. Called the news. Told him she was rescuing an abandoned ranch. Local station ran a fluff piece. Her hugging her kids in front of my barn. Said I was mysterious. Absentee. I wanted to punch a wall. But then a miracle. Mrs. Doreen Taylor, my elderly neighbor, walked into the courthouse with a USB drive. Said she didn't trust that woman, so she recorded her. Video showed Heather driving my tractor, hauling tools to her side of the creek. Sheriff loved it. Then came the showdown. Heather rolled up in her SUV with 2 big guys in black jackets labeled HOA compliance. One had a clipboard. She had new papers. "Caleb," she said with a smirk, "you're trespassing again. We've reissued ownership under Emergency Redevelopment Code." I didn't wait. I hit record. "Say that again for the camera." She backed off fast. The fake lawyer with her whispered something about civil dispute. I smiled. That's funny, because my lawyer just filed criminal charges for fraud and forgery. The sheriff's en route. And right on cue, they arrived. Deputy Vargas stepped out, nodded at me. "Mr. Myers, we verified your ownership. Ma'am," he turned to Heather, "you're in violation of a court order. You and your party need to vacate now." Heather's face twisted. "I called you." "You're not the owner," Vargas said. "You're under investigation for fraud." Turns out the 2 compliance officers were just local guys she paid to play dress-up. They folded instantly. One muttered, "I thought this was legit." As they were escorted off, I didn't cheer. I didn't gloat. I just stood on the porch, watching her little empire fall. But it didn't end. That night, I found the back door ajar. Someone had come back, slashed my couch, spray-painted the walls. My wife's wedding dress, shredded, nailed to the wall with a knife through the chest. Words in red. "You lied. We were family." The sheriff showed up fast. Heather had an alibi. She was at a shelter. But something told me she wasn't alone in this. I reviewed Ellie's footage again, spotted a man, beard, sunglasses, holding Heather's daughter. Never gave a name to the cops. I sent it in. His name was Dean Caldwell, Heather's brother, disbarred real estate agent, fraud charges, been helping her all along. 2 days later, I found a buried crate near the tree line. Inside, my stolen belongings, a burner phone, and voice recordings. Heather and Dean, plotting the takeover, planning to spin me as crazy, saying I invited her, and if I returned too early, call 911, make him the threat. They'll believe the crying mom. I handed it all to the sheriff. Arrest warrants. FBI flagged them both. Dean got caught first. Fake plates outside Nevada. Karen, Heather, was arrested in a Greyhound station in Fort Collins. Wig, fake passport, more fake deeds in her purse. She was trying to run. A month later, I sat in court. Heather didn't cry, didn't talk, didn't smile. She was sentenced to 12 years. Dean turned on her to cut his own deal. And me? I got a check from the court. Damages from her liquidated assets. Not enough to cover what she stole, but enough to rebuild. And a sealed envelope left on my porch one morning. Inside, a note. I lied. I hurt people. But I really believed you were the home I needed. I was wrong. I didn't burn it. I kept it. Proof that evil can look you in the eye and still think it's love. And the truth? I still sleep with the locks checked twice. Still wake up wondering if peace is real, or just the eye of a storm. She didn't want my house. She wanted my life, and she almost got it. But not this time. Not ever. So tell me, how do you fight someone who rewrites reality?